we will be connected. And we will expand back into oneness. But the baser resonances will always reverberate this calcifying, these callousness, walls of separation between us and them. They need an other. The individual is imparted an excuse from reflection in their inner self and deflating their own ego and reaching a state of ascended consciousness by having a convenient boogeyman, by having a convenient other. And so long as there's this other that I'm afraid of, or that's the enemy, therefore I don't have to reflect upon myself. But the baser resonances will never impart to you that in this universe all things are interconnected, and what one does affects the whole system. And they won't impart to you that we are all made of the same stuff, and that what happens in that side, their pain, their struggle, is all part of the same system, reverberates into our circle, and that we are all one. They won't reverberate that, because their power comes from creating a vertigo of mirrors of detachment and stirring up fear and resentment and frustration, so that you lend your light and your freedom to another. And they're gleaning their power not by being interconnected to all and filtering in the light of eternity as a network, indiscriminately imparting light to all. They're not getting their energy that way. Therefore, they're a black hole, and they need legions and legions of individuals that are petrified and offering their light to them by lording over to them. And when it's not working well, then scare them more. And strike up the fears and the hatred and the polarities more. Because we're this vortex, a black hole. We're not connected to all things, and we don't have that bountiful light coming through us. The abundance we acquire is only through the leveraging of the light of another. The other is giving us their light because they want control, because they are afraid. And so they say, give us control. And we say, we'll give you control. Give us your light of life. And you'll become our serf, and we will be your Lord. And we will tell you who your enemies are. And all along, we will profit from your predictability, because you're in a state of fear and a reactionary state, thirsting for control. When we all know there's nothing that can be controlled in this world. Control is a facade. The only thing you can control is how much you choose to love. Everything can be stricken away by another variable. Everything. But how much you choose to love, that's up to you. That's your control. You want to control things, you're a control freak? Go, love with abundance, all, as much as possible. Use your freedom, your sovereignty. And so when you walk through this world and you see different news reports and different organizations and such, and you don't know what is and what's not, and you have existential vertigo, just decide who is focusing on energies being universal and connected to a greater expansion, and who is reverberating separation polarities. And what do they have to gain by keeping us separate? What do they have to gain? What are they leveraging? What energies are they acquiring because they're keeping individuals in a state of fear and oppression? Why are they afraid to illuminate and to give people sovereignty? Why do they fear they have to dominate and tell you what to do? Why can't they trust the integrity of your song to follow what resonates? Why? Because if you know how to love and you know the freedom of your love, then you're not predictable. And we can't leverage off you. And we can't design our marketing and our corporations in order to maximize on a predictable profitability from an individual's in a state of freedom and is free in their love and knows and does not need and does not want. The individual is always in a state of complete freedom to choose how much to love, to find freedom in that love and connectivity to all. And in that space, not need. and not want, but merely choose and say, I choose intimacy, I choose abundance. I choose to journey bountifully, to take the short path, to not evolve as the rest, through struggle and strain, through fight and flight, but through leapfrogging in expansion, through connectivity to all in a higher light, an ascended consciousness. And so, yes, many quote-unquote leaders, many quote-unquote institutions have long lost their light, have long lost their inspiration, and now are oversized infrastructures of establishment, of rules and proxies, and a lot of jobs. And their job is to resonate how important they are so that they're not unemployed and obsolete. And so they need to focus on divisiveness and fear and power and anger and rage and frustration and disconnectivity in order to keep themselves relevant. And they're a big black hole, and they're obsolete. For all will be revealed, and it is so clear in our world, in our present day and age, that if there are people starving in one part of the world, it will reverberate in our presence. If there's chaos over there, that chaos takes root, it is relevant to us in a real way. Because baser resonances will go there and will leverage there, and they will resent and they will be jealous of the affliction that's happening there and the callousness and the indifference to it. And they will lash out. And this is all part of the reverberations of victimhood and oppression that go back and forth. And we can all break out of the cycle by realizing that we are only as strong as our weakest link, and we are all interconnected. And if an asteroid goes into outer space and hits Pluto, that there's going to be weather patterns, changes, shifts, tidal waves on Earth. That what happens by each individual affects the all. And we are all interconnected and made of the same stuff. And we can choose, and we can control our love, how much we choose to love. And in that space, in that sovereignty of expression of a higher love from within, in the face of the chaos, in the face of the polarities, we will see a revelation of the universal connectivity of all. We will become aware of it. And we will hear the song of eternity flowing forth, where all are interconnected. And in that space, we will be aligned with our sacred song and in integrity, and we will be aligned with our higher self collective. And it's at that point that we are not primitive anymore. We are not primitive, and we are not being leveraged into cycles of savage slavery. But we are free individuals, free to choose, and to choose to learn our lessons through intimacy.